Hi guys, welcome to my kitchen. So today we're going to talk a little bit about money saving and opting out of the grocery store situations. I made a post on my Facebook that got a lot of traction, and it was about buying a case of pears, and what I did with them and how much money I would have saved if I bought the same items at the store or even ordered online, because sometimes you just can't find those things at the grocery store. So I'm going to go over that a little bit with you today. I'm also going to tell you what new things I've purchased and what I'm going to do with them. And then just a little bit of money saving tips that we do here on the homestead. So of course, you want to try to grow as many things as you can for yourself. So on this farm, I have about 6,000 square feet of garden space, and of course we raise our own proteins. But that being said, there's just some things that you cannot you can't grow, so you have to go out and buy. So those are the types of things that I look for. Now, if you live in a city situation, you may not have an area to grow anything. So these applications are going to apply to you, especially because you're going to be able to find ways to help yourself stay out of the grocery store as much and save a lot of money in the long run. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the pears. Now, where I got these pears is a discount warehouse type of situation. So they'll get in a truckload of produce once or twice a week, and then I'll just go there and purchase. It is usually pretty decent produce. It might be seconds, something that doesn't make it to the grocery store shelf or some situation like that. In many cases, you can find things that are organic there, or you may even be able to find some unique things. Like we found pine berries. They're really unique. They look like a strawberry, but they're kind of a whitish pinkish color. They taste so good. They're like a strawberry, but very pineapple forward as far as flavor. I didn't do anything with those. We just ate them really. So that was just something to try. But they do have a lot of produce that they bring in. So other places that you might be able to go, if you have an Amish place, Mennonite place nearby, a lot of times they have bulk foods. I did a video last summer about produce auctions. You can attend those and buy food in bulk. Restaurant supply places, you can buy food in bulk. Just look around. A lot of times farms, maybe they have, pick as much as you want, or, they have it in crates or whatever that you can purchase from. So those are some situations to look for outside of your conventional store-bought foods. I went to this discount warehouse that we go to, and they have all kinds of things. They have canned goods that you can buy for inexpensive, really unique candies that you may not see all the time. So we bought some organic Hershey bars and organic Reese's, which was really, really cool. I try to buy organic as much as I possibly can. I read labels an awful lot because I don't like all the artificial preservatives and not a lot of seed or vegetable oils if I can help. So buying organic usually steers you away from that. It also helps keep you away from pesticides and things of that nature. So and that's why I always stick with those options. Hold on, I gotta get a sip of coffee. I'm mostly over my cold, but I still get a little dry, scratchy throat, so that's what that's for. Anyway, we went to this discount warehouse, and I got a whole case of pears. I think it was about 40 pounds, and that case cost me $15. I have a rundown of everything I made, and it's actually sitting here behind me. I left the jars here because I like to leave the jars on the counter for a little while because I think they're so pretty, and I'm usually so proud of them. But I also have some other things back here I wanted to talk about, so that's why this stuff's all here. My kitchen during canning times is about like this. The rest of my stuff, like my table, my island, they're mostly clear, but my counters will fill up relatively quickly. You can't do much about it. It's a functioning kitchen, really. So the first thing I did with that 40-pound box of pears, I made the pear wine that you see right here. Now this is still young in its fermentation. It's only been a week and a day, so that's why it's still very hazy. And when it comes up on the 2-week mark, I'll probably rack the liquid off of the fruit, and it'll really clear up nice after that. That's going to give me about 5 bottles of pear wine. And if you go online and you research it and you see how much pear wine runs you, it could be as much as $50 a bottle or as little as $12 a bottle. So I just went with the kind of the average that I was seeing, around $17 a bottle. That's $85 worth of wine in this container right here. So, then I did these bad boys right here. I'm going to show you. I think they're so pretty. These are called pear pickles. I got the recipe out of the trusty Complete Book of Home Preserving by Ball. I wasn't sure how I was going to like these. I really didn't know what to expect. They have vinegar in them, but they have a lot of lemon, as you can see here, and ginger. And I have to be honest, this might be one of my favorite things I've ever canned. They're supposed to be really great on a charcuterie board or in between, like if you had a fancy dinner and you wanted to have like a palate cleanser, an aperitif, this would be perfect for that. I can just think of so many uses for these, but charcuterie board with cheese and crackers is going to be perfect. So I got 9 jars of that. Does that? Yeah. I didn't do the brine. 9 jars of that, and if you kind of do a search and see what they're about going for, it's about $7 a jar, so that's like $63 right there. Now, one thing I didn't add in here is the brine for that, which is right here. I had extra brine left over, and I didn't really want to get rid of it. It's sweet and tangy, and I thought with the vinegar and the sugars in there, probably really be great to add to water in the summer to give you kind of like an electrolyte boost. But I also thought it would be really great for brining chicken or pork, because I think these flavors, the ginger and the pear, would really go nicely with pork or chicken. So I canned those up as well. Now, I also made pear butter, because who doesn't love apple butter, pumpkin butter, pear butter? It tastes just like apple butter, but it has like a hint and a note of pear to it. So I absolutely love this. We got 13 jars of this, and approximate price is $7. So that's $91 in pear butter right here. And then another probable favorite. I don't know, can you see all the chunks in there? This is pear marmalade. So it has lemon, ginger, and pear in it again. I love those flavor profiles. It has the nice consistency of a marmalade, so it's great on toast. I put it on biscuits last night. It was to die for. But it will also be really, really good to glaze a ham with if you wanted to do that. I got 7 jars of this. Approximate value is $6 a jar. That's $42 in savings. So I spent $15 on a 40-pound box of pears, and about $281 is the products I got out of there. That doesn't count for the brine that I saved as well. So that just goes to show you how you can buy something in bulk and you can break it down and you can use it. And a lot of people may say, well, I've never bought pear marmalade before. No, but have you bought jellies and jams? Do you get a glaze for your Easter ham? I mean, there's so many uses for a marmalade. Just because you haven't bought it before doesn't mean that you wouldn't love it and use it. Maybe it just wasn't in your budget to purchase before. Maybe you've just never seen it before, so it's something kind of exotic to you. You're going to find if you start canning, it opens up so many doors to experience food that you may never have experienced before. So that's why I love it so, so much. Something else that I have done, you can see over here, when we bought those pears, I got a case of strawberries, and I will tell you, sometimes when you're buying food in bulk and you're buying it at a discounted price, sometimes they go off a little quicker than others. Strawberries are one of those things. So I got a case of strawberries, but because I was more focused on the pears, I got the wine going, but then the other 4 packs of strawberries I got, they kind of got moldy, so they ended up going to the chickens. They love those types of things. But I did get a gallon of strawberry wine going right here. And it's at the same age as the pear and the blueberry that's over here. So that was the other thing I did. I put blueberry wine on. It's a little bit of a bigger container because the blueberries take up so much space. Don't look at the airlock. The blueberry wine got a little excited and went up into the airlock, and I have to clean it out again. I think it's done. It's oozing, so I can clean it out now. I just haven't gotten to it yet, so don't look at that. Here in the middle, you see my pressure canner. The lid's on top. It's just flipped upside down. this is what I use. So everything I'm talking about here is super simple to do, and you don't need a pressure canner. I have my pressure canner out because it's a big vessel that holds a lot of water and it has a good fitted lid. That's all you need to do water bath canning. So all of these things I did right here were not pressure canned. You don't need any special tools to do this. It was all done by the water bath method, which means that you put your jars into hot boiling water. Usually you want to have something that keeps them up off the bottom. You don't want them on direct heat. You put them in there, make sure that the water completely covers the jars by about an inch at least, it could be more. You put your lid on, and then you'll boil that water for 10, 15, up to 20 minutes, depending on the recipe. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's less. And then that's it. You pull them out when the boiling is slowed down and the steam's gone, and you kind of let it sit for 5 or 10 minutes or so, sometimes longer if you're me because you forgot they're in there. And then you pull them out. That's it. You don't need anything fancy. I use the pressure canner because for me, it allows me to put more jars in because it's huge. You can see how big it is. These recipes that I'm talking about, like I said, are water bath canned. You're not going to use the pressure canning method. You only use the pressure canning method when you have like a low acid food item that the risk of like botulism or whatever would go up. However, pressure canning is in the history of time is a newer thing. So I'm not going to recommend that you ever, water bath can meat or whatever like that, but pressure canning is something that you don't really have to do unless you're really in depth into preserving food. But we'll talk about pressure canning another time. We're doing water bath canning today. So I went back to the same discount warehouse yesterday and I got a few more things. So I want to show you what I got and tell you what I'm planning on doing with them. I don't know how much I'm going to get out of it, so I can't tell you what my savings are going to be. But the first thing that I got is this giant thing of peeled garlic. It's 5 pounds. Oh gosh, I think it was $5.99 for this 5 pounds of garlic. So it's like just a hair over $1 a pound, which is fantastic. So, and it's already peeled, so the work is done for me. And it's garlic. Not really, you don't really use a lot of pesticides and stuff on garlic. So, it's pretty much guaranteed that it's a cleanish food. So I feel okay about using it. It smells amazing. My entire house smells like garlic, which is probably driving my husband crazy because he hates that smell. But I'm planning on doing 2 things with this. Now, the first thing that I'm planning on doing, like I said, these come out of the ball, a complete book of home preserving book. The first thing I'm going to do is pickled garlic. Depending on how much I use, it should at least give me 5 of the jelly jar sizes. I might go as much as, I might double it. I might do 10. Pickled garlic is going to be great for like spaghetti sauces, pizzas. You could pretty much use pickled garlic like you would use any other garlic. It's just going to have a tang of vinegar. It's just going to preserve it longer. But you could also put it on, your charcuterie boards, or put it in an antipasta salad, anything like that. So it's going to be really, really great. Pickled garlic is also going to be great for you if you have a cold or something. Just pop a clove in your mouth. I know that sounds crazy, but it would be good for you. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'm contemplating. I should have probably got 2 of these, but we'll see how far I get with the first one. The other thing I was thinking about doing was a roasted garlic jelly. I think that just sounds fantastic. Roasted garlic, and then you can spread it on toast, so it would give you that garlic toast sensation. It really doesn't have a whole ton of sugar in it. It does have some because it's a jam, of course, it's a jelly, but it also has balsamic vinegar and white wine, and I just think that sounds fantastic. So I'm thinking about making that. The other thing that I am considering doing is taking a jar and putting some of the cloves in there, packing them in there pretty well, and then pouring over honey. Honey and garlic together is like a superfood, and it really helps you get over any types of colds and viruses, flus that may be going around, or whatever else. And so I'm thinking about doing that as well. And then even after you use the garlic, so if you're sick, you just eat the garlic, and then after that, you'll have a bunch of honey. The honey turns black when you pour it over the garlic, but you can utilize that garlic honey for any type of food preparation that you want to use. So there's lots of different options to do with this 5 pounds of garlic. I just love this so much. And then after that, I can keep the container because that's a nice container with a good lid. So let me show you what else I got. All right, hold on. I'm taking a sip of coffee while I'm here. Okay. Look at this. Okay. Look. This case of organic strawberries. Put it over here out of the way. Okay. And these are organic strawberries. So that's fantastic, which also means I need to use them like now, today. So as soon as I get off of this video here, I'm going to start canning these because they're starting to look a little fuzzy and I don't want to lose them. So, the organic strawberries, I think, was $7 for this whole case. Yes, it was $7. Just think about that for a second, because usually at the grocery store you can find these containers 2 for $7 on sale, and I just got 8 of them for $7, and they're organic, which is fantastic. So I'm definitely planning on making some jam with those to put on the shelf. And I don't know if I'll make anything else because I already have the wine going, though it is awful tempting to make more, although I don't know if I'm going to like that wine. So we'll probably just go ahead and make jam out of all of these. I'm not sure. There's so many different versions and varieties. I could mix it with apples and make a strawberry apple, which I think would be delightful as well. So I'll let you guys know what I've decided to do with those after I've done it. The garlic I really looked up because I was like, what am I going to do with this much garlic? But I found simple solutions to that. So this is a way that I can take $13 and turn it into probably dang on near close to $250 so worth of food. I think it's really important right now that we all try to find ways to be frugal and ways that you can take a lot of food for a cheap price and turn them into stuff that's going to store for a long time on your shelf. The other nice thing about these types of things is maybe you live in town and the only thing you can do is can some stuff that you buy at the store. Maybe you don't have the luxury of, say, owning chickens or something like that. However, you're going to be able to take some of these canned goods to somebody that has chickens and be like, hey, can I barter this for a dozen of eggs? And 9 times out of 10, somebody will be like, sure, I'd take that trade. So, I mean, there's different options for you. Once you get into these kind of, they call them granny hobbies. Once you get into these granny hobbies, you're going to see that it opens so many doors. Again, I say, now that I've been preserving our own food and cooking from scratch, I feel like we eat like kings, which is so funny because we could never afford to go to the store and buy T-bones for our family of 6. That would just be outrageous. But because we raise our own cows, we have T-bones sitting in the freezer. I mean, you can find ways to save money no matter what situation you are. It just takes some creativity and a little bit of effort. All right, let me look at my list here and see. I did that. We talked about the pears. We talked about the wine. And that. We talked about that. Okay, the only other thing I have, if we're talking about being frugal, is when you cook from scratch, a lot of times it's going to help you save money in the kitchen. So for example, you can go to the grocery store and buy a loaf of white bread, which slays me at the price of that right now. $1.50, $2 for a loaf of white bread that has more ingredients in there that you've never heard of before. It's unbelievable. I was shocked when I looked at the actual label of bread. I haven't bought bread. I think my husband may have picked up a loaf or 2 here and there when I was maybe sick or overwhelmed with work, and but that's probably it in the past 3 years. I've been baking our own bread. And then if you look at the ingredients on the back, it's just insane. You could spend that $2 on a loaf of bread. Or, for example, I go to our Amish bulk food supply place and I buy 50 pounds of flour, and that's $23. I'm going to get a lot of bread out of that for that cost savings. Plus, I'm going to be able to do other things like bake. If I bake cookies, then that's cookies I don't have to buy at the store for the kids to snack on. So There are a lot of things that you can save money on if you cook from scratch. Another thing is, we bought a roast. Roasts anymore are expensive, and I'm out of roasts, and we wanted one, so we bought a roast and I cooked it, and we'll probably use that same roast, one roast for a family of 6 for 3 days, because I can stretch that. We eat it as like just roast and potatoes the first night, and whatever roast and potatoes that we don't use, I make a stew out of. And that stew, I'll add vegetables to it, and then you have your broth, and I'll make biscuits. That'll last us probably 2 nights. So one roast, $17, is going to stretch for 3 nights. So there's a lot of things that you can do. You can stretch your food budget, and you can really try to save some money if you cook from scratch, and if you are creative, and if you put in that effort. It'll be so much better for you. Plus, it's healthier than buying convenience foods that have a bunch of stuff in it that I don't even want to talk about. And, it's definitely better and more inexpensive than running to the fast food store all the time or going out to eat. And you will find when you start to cook from scratch and you start to really build those skills, if you don't already have them, that those types of foods just won't taste right anymore. And you're going to be spoiled with your own genius. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a little bit different, but I think this part of homesteading is really, really important, because I don't grow this amount of strawberries. I don't grow those blueberries. I certainly don't have pear trees. So, it just shows that we don't always grow everything, but we can still put food up on a budget and do it well, and be really, really pleased with the results of it. And we can save money. So I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.